What's up, guys? And welcome to another trade recap. Today's Tuesday. I did not trade yesterday because it was President's Day. So this was my first trading day of the week, and I made $9,000 in profit. Let's get into it. So today was very simple, cookie cutter, not using my method, my model, although I will show you an example of a setup that my model did give today that played out nicely. But I took a slightly more optimal setup, and that's sometimes just the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, let's get into it. This was very basic, very cookie cutter, a lot of cookie talk today, but very simple stuff. And you'll notice a theme with what I'm about to show you, and basically all my trades, regardless of the actual entry model or confluence I use for the entry, all of my trades involve a liquidity sweep and an inversion. And that's exactly what this entire trade was based off of today. Liquidity sweep and inversion. I didn't really wait for an additional confirmation or an additional confluence like my model, my level, etc. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first trade I took was, well, first of all, I got on the charts around 8 a.m. and I noticed we were already in this downtrend to this Asia low. So I waited for us to take the low, we did, and then lower, and then inverse. And then I decided to get into longs. Now my first trade, as you can see, was a loss. I used the same 12.5 fixed stop, but I got filled a little bit high here. So I got filled around 55, 75, so a tick higher than this, but I'm not going to adjust it because who cares. And then it was supposed to be this 12.5 fixed stop, which obviously would have got stopped, but I ended up getting a 14.5 point stop because of that shitty fill. Because I used the market order and then fixed stop loss on that of 50 ticks, but since I got a little bit of a higher fill, it applied the same 50 tick stop from where I wanted it to where I got filled. So it ended up being a 14.5 point stop, which, as you can see, I basically got brutally bottom tick stopped, and then obviously the trade played. So I took this 14.5 point loss. This was supposed to be a 50 tick loss, but about $300 loss per account. I'm trading 3, so I lost about $900. Then the very next candle broke out of that same consolidation range that chopped me, and I knew that this was an example of I got perfectly stopped and this is going to rip, and I can either sit there and take that L and watch it go or get back in. So I got my balls and I forced a market entry right after that next candle close. In my opinion, this was not like desperate or anything. I shouldn't have said forced. I think it was still a clean trade. But I do like to get in even lower right after that first inversion where I tried to fill, but I obviously got perfectly shook out of that before it started playing. So, but basically market experience was kind of my confluence to get back in. It was just kind of like, I know this game, I know what happens, I get perfectly stopped, then we come right back out of the consolidation range, we're going to go. So I got right back in. Same 50 tick stop. Obviously, didn't get stopped this time. Played out to the London highs for 159 points. That was our London high that I was targeting. 159 points, 12.7 R. Very good setup. So after all was said and done, made about $9,000. I think this is very simple. I don't know if I need to break it down any further, but liquidity sweep of Asia, inversion, which of course looks like this. We had this bearish gap. We did not get the inverse fair value gap on this first bullish fair value gap up. So I waited for us to get this mitigation candle. The moment we got the mitigation candle is when I longed on the close of the candle. That's why I got filled basically on the open of the next candle, except a little bit higher. But yeah, very simple stuff. Took that 150 tick stop, got back in, rest is history. Now, that other setup that I was mentioning that I will show you using my level would have been this right here. Obviously, as you guys know from my model demonstration or most of my trade recaps, because most of my trades do involve my model, what you're seeing here, except it needs to be a 50 tick stop. So let me zoom in so I can get that accurate. Anyways, this is the exact setup that I would have taken if I didn't take this, which was the first gap through the level and then a retracement to the level, 50 tick stop. Obviously got a really nice fill here before it came back down, dug into this gap a little bit, but ultimately the level plus the gap supported and delivered to that London high nicely. At one point before open here at 9:30, I did move my stop loss all the way up to here. Luckily, I obviously moved it back down. I would have gotten stopped right there before it ripped to my TP, but luckily I stayed disciplined and moved my stop back to break even, which did not get hit, and it delivered fully to that high. But yeah, gotta be careful with those trailing stops, guys, because you will cut yourself short, especially if you're trading like me, taking these longer, larger moves. As you guys can tell, I take big moves, big R. It's usually 10 plus R, 100 plus point moves. And it's not that I force that to happen, it's just that's the way that I trade, and I take things to the draw of liquidity. And since I'm trading inversions, typically the draw of liquidity on the other side of the inversion is pretty far away. So that is why we ended up with these 12, 10, 15, 20 R setups that always have 100, 200 point take profits, even more sometimes, up to 500 points, 50R, 80R. I've done it all. But at the end of the day, this is the type of setup you're going to take with my model. And if you want to be able to actually take that full TP, you can't just trailer your stop to every low that gets created, because they will get reswept before we continue up. So you do need to stay disciplined with that, and you have to be able to watch your money go from plus 3,000 to down to 1,000 and then deliver to that TP. So you have to be able to round trip, or not round trip, but watch your money come up and then get cut in half and then double again. So it is a game of discipline, but luckily I did stay disciplined with my stop and obviously took this full TP. This trade was not taken live in my Discord like normal. I know typically I live trade every single trade Monday through Friday, but it was a pre-market setup pretty early in the morning, around 8:20 that I took these setups. So I was not live, but I did signal these inside of my Discord chat. I don't do signals in the sense where I'm like, all right, I'm feeling 558, 20, 50 tick stop, but it's like, guys, I'm bullish. I'm waiting for the inversion. Okay, we got the inversion. I said, okay, I got in. Oh, I got stopped. I'm getting back in. I kind of gave the play-by-play, but not signals, because I don't do signals. I don't really like signal bots. That's not the community that I have. My community is full of people who are actually trying to learn. That's why we do live trading, because you can learn while you earn, not just signal bot. Anyways, trade was not taken live, but was kind of sort of signaled inside of the Discord. I did go live today, but by the time I went live at 9:15, obviously this trade was already more than halfway played out, and we just kind of watched as it delivered to the TP. But yeah, that was today. Pretty simple stuff. If you want access to the Discord where I live stream my trades Monday through Friday, I'll drop that link in the description below as always. There will also be a link to the indicator, which is what you use, which gives you the levels that you use for entries using my model, just like that demonstration I just showed you of that setup. But yeah, very simple stuff as always. Traded on 3 Alpha Futures accounts. I'll leave the link in the description for Alpha Futures as well. Using code ENZO, you could get 20% off last I checked, so definitely check that out. But yeah, with that being said, another good day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.